Hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Some pretty crazy stuff to talk about that has come to light over the last week. But before we talk about the actual topic at hand in the title, we've got to take a step back. For those unfamiliar, the age restriction for Rocket League is 13, and it used to be 15. And with that, a lot of really young, talented players ended up kind of playing underage and getting banned temporarily. Zen, Atomic, Seiko, a bunch of really, really good players that you guys know as professionals played either on an account that wasn't their own while they were like 14 or 13 or something to that extent, had a 1-year ban, and then eventually got to come in. Zen obviously is the most recent that people are aware of. This happened with Nalpo. This happened with, it's pretty common. It's like 4 or 5 major players. About 3 or 4 years ago, there was a video that was put out about the youngest SSL ever. At 11 years old, which is a player by the name of Sphinx. You should know this name potentially because Sphinx plays in the APAC region for the team Elevate. They actually ended up making Copenhagen for the first major this year. They did go 0-3 and ended up taking last place, or tied for last place at 15-16. But Sphinx, very talented player, did not go through the 1-year ban like everybody else. Was a good boy and did and followed the rules, and he's fine. And unfortunately not going to be attending the World Championship. Didn't get to go to the major in London, but hopefully continue to see his career blossom and grow. Sphinx is a very talented player, very mechanical. A lot of people joke about how he is going to be what saves the APAC region. Outside of that, and what is kind of what this video is about, is there, because of the age restriction now being 13, younger players that slightly less mature and don't really understand the realm of consequence are starting to kind of bend the rules and see what they can get away with. Now, the reason why I bring up all this context is because there's always going to be this ongoing issue of young people trying to play in a tournament because they feel like they're capable, they feel like they are good enough to do so. And unfortunately, the concept of risk and consequence doesn't really equate. So in this circumstance, it ended up going unnoticed for quite a while. At the age of 11 and then 12, I'm pretty sure was around the age, there is a young player by the name of Risk who played in the APAC region under a team by the name of Rosetta. I don't know how to say it specifically. And it was Risk, John, and Tony. Risk at the time was 11 or 12 years old, and this has basically gone unnoticed for quite a while. They played in the RLCS 22-23 Winter Regionals, and didn't have the greatest results. I think in one of the main events, they went actually 0-9, didn't get a single win in Swiss, and similar results, but slightly got better due to the benefits of the open qualifier system. Playing against better teams on a regular basis, because if you're the 15-16 seed coming in, you're playing against the 1-2, which are arguably the best teams in the world, and that definitely helps you get better. So you saw that happen. We also saw this player playing in most recently the qualifiers for Major 1 splits, so Regional 1, 2, and 3. Again, no results there. 15th, 16th, 5-8, 5-8. So they did have some moments where they are playing against teams like Gaming Gladiators, like Elevate, Sphinx, who I mentioned just a bit ago. But most people aren't really taking note of, like, okay, this player is really good, but like in the grand scheme of things, you're still very far off from being the single individual representation for our region to go and compete at majors and the World Championship. We then find out later that Risk is actually only 11 or 12 and is now 13, which is the legal age, which creates this problem, right? Before you were playing underage where it was illegal and you weren't found out, but now that you're able to actually go in and say, hey, if I'm going to pursue this career, I should probably fess up and be like, hey, this is actually what it is now that I'm responsible. What is the consequence going to be? So on June 28th, Risk put out a tweet saying that he was banned from competing in Epic hosted events, including RLCS, for 6 months. And many people were like, why? Why is that? Like, we don't see any issues. You've been playing and competing. What's going on? Which he then quote tweeted and said, hey, for context, I'm 13. You know, I played in the RLCS when I was 11 and 12, and I admitted and thus have been banned for only 6 months. So it looks like he has been banned basically until the start of the next season. They're not going to really hold it against him from the sounds of things, which in itself is kind of odd. We have seen similar bans in the past where they're basically just saying you are banned for the remainder of the season or up until the next season begins. But he provides some insight as well, saying, hey, I first reached SSL when I was 11 and will be looking for a team next season with a mic. And a lot of people are wondering, like, what do you mean by a mic? This player has basically been playing without comms, hasn't been talking to anybody, has basically been, I am just listening to my gameplay via speakers and no headset, no microphone, nothing, because didn't want to have people learn as to why due to the voice age, etc. So what's crazy is like, while I appreciate the ability to come forward and admit is the standard ban time of being a year not being applied because of that, like there's a lot of details that we don't necessarily know about it, but what is crazy is that you are seeing some of these young kids get very good at this game, and a lot of that is due to the exposure of what is out there. A lot of the specifics of how to speed flip, how to do these mechanics, all those tutorials are readily available as soon as you start day one, which is stuff that we had to discover and figure out throughout the years. So you get a giant leapfrog there. Obviously, young kids do learn and to grow and like kind of grasp information very, very quickly. So you have that advantage. But to be SSL at 11 and then still get to compete in the RLCS, temporary ban and stuff, it's kind of just a slap at the wrist because there's no events really going on anyway during the offseason. If there is any Epic hosted events going on, which we're talking about the FIFA E partnership that they have, and I don't know if it's specifically Epic sanctioned or if it's ones that they're associated to. I would assume it's just the RLCS because it's the only tournament that Epic runs. He's pretty much fine. He can play in the EWC Community Cup. He can play in any off-season tournaments that are being hosted. Could have played in the Shift Summer League thing that's going on right now. Whatever off-season tournaments are happening, as long as Epic is not the one creating it, I think he's good. So pretty much kind of a null ban, in my opinion. Isn't changing any of the results. Still able to compete in the next season. Life's good. So while his name is Risk, and unfortunately one bad dad joke here, there doesn't seem to be any. I don't think there is any repercussions for what Risk has done. So teach their own, I guess. You know, we've got another new young kid that is going to be a free agent that can potentially be the next Scribbles-esque type player for the APAC region. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Any additional questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below. I was going to include a bunch of gameplay video in this video, but it ended up getting a little bit too lengthy. So my recommendation, and with the Liquipedia, is just go look at their previous matches. You can watch the VODs on your own. And yeah, the kid's really good. I can only imagine what it's going to look like when communication and stuff starts growing as well, and can kind of get away from the like, what if I get caught mentality, and just focus on I need to play as good as I possibly can. So again, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications, consider doing them. It helps me out greatly. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.